Here's a tweet from Billy Baldwin saying, where was it proven that Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13? Well, thanks to X, literally everybody just spam blasted him with all the documents while liberals claimed he wasn't. So you have Viva Frei, of course. With this document says, after considering the information provided by both parties, the court concluded that no bond was appropriate in this matter. The court first reasoned that the respondent failed to meet his burden of demonstrating that his release from custody would not pose a danger to others, as the evidence shows he is a verified member of MS-13. They then go on to cite court reference, I believe 3, or it looks like 2. The BIA has held that absent any indication that the information therein is incorrect or the result of coercion or duress, Form I-213 is inherently trustworthy and admissible. There were not just 2 rulings, a lower court and an appellate court, but subsequent courts that used that justification that he was a member of MS-13. In fact, I believe the only reason they dropped the charges against him is because they don't want to force an extradition from El Salvador. And I believe it is absolutely fair to say Donald Trump could bully, and I mean bully in the lightest sense. He could go to Nayib Bukele and say, look, I want you to release the guy. It's a political problem for us. We'll take him back. And Nayib would say, you got it. But I do think Trump's looking at it. It's more like an 80-20 thing in that, yes, Trump could do that. It's going to make Nayib be like, you owe me a favor. Like, okay, fine, but this makes me look bad. I'm going to want something in return. Like he would abide by Trump. Come on. Anybody arguing that he wouldn't listen to Trump if Trump made the request is being silly. That being said, I don't think that Trump wants to even nudge Nayib Bukele in such a way and say, no, he's an MS-13 guy. He's your citizen. We can't do that.
He doesn't want to admit that he made a mistake. If he thinks he did, he doesn't want to admit it because it'll look like he did. If he did.
I take that back. I take it back. Imagine you're Nayib Bukele. Donald Trump comes to you and says, for political reasons, I want you to hand over one of your citizens to me. Nayib Bukele has no choice but to say, I can't do that. Imagine if Iran or South Africa told the United States, Ian Crossland will be delivered to us now. The U.S. would be like, absolutely not. So I think even with their relationship, it's a rock and a hard place for Nayib Bukele to be like, Trump, I can't do that. I can't turn over a Salvadoran citizen to the United States.
Just the precedent that it would set.
Yeah, that the U.S. can come and just say, you will give your citizen to me.
If it was just a citizen that never had been to the States, for sure. But since it was an American living in the United States, sent there, there's nuance in the potential
what?
of a...
It was what?
Because this guy was... I said he was an American, but what I meant was he was living in the United States.
Illegally.
Yeah, when it was sent to... So there's this...
An El Salvadorian
it's a nuanced
citizen.
situation as opposed
of
to
El Salvador.
just picking somebody off the street of El Salvador and being like, send him to America.
But regardless, the precedent is a slippery slope. To ask a foreign leader to turn over any citizen...
I think we're setting up a lot of precedent right now. Like you mentioned, Phil, like this is the president. You said that he should steamroll the judiciary. And that then someone brought up Abraham Lincoln arresting or threatening to arrest a Supreme Court justice, which kind of falls under the definition of steamrolling the judiciary. You use the threat of force against all of the judiciary.
No. Don't
just ignoring them is different than steamrolling them.
Don't put my words in my mouth.
Steamroll the judiciary. What do you mean?
Yeah, I meant, so when I said steamroll, I meant ignore them. I'm not saying that we should arrest the judiciary. Don't make it out like I'm saying we should,
Phil,
throw them in jail.
But Phil, why not?
because there's no reason, because the judiciary has no enforcement arm.
Indeed.
It's the one of the handful, like the entire executive branch, every single part of the executive branch has an enforcement arm. That means men with guns. The judiciary has no enforcement arm.
The judiciary's enforcement arm is supposed to be the executive branch.
Yeah, and sometimes the judiciary makes mistakes, or sometimes, like now, we have a politically motivated portion of the judiciary that is making decisions that are upholding illegal behaviors of a previous administration. And again, this is not something where the American people are really split 50-50 on. It's an 80-20 situation.
This is my issue with what you said, though. The American people have been so wrong on issues in the past. Like, we cannot say override checks and balances, override the judiciary because the American people think this is a popular thing to do right now.
We absolutely should.
I'm comfortable risking
absolutely should.
Hannah, I'm comfortable risking.
Absolutely should.
Phil, and whatever puts that cat back in the bag. The next time the
what do you mean cat back in the bag? It's not like this is never. It's not unprecedented.
What do you do if the cat's already out of the bag?
I think Congress needs to step up. I mean, I'm going to keep going back to this. I understand that they have been completely neutered, but that is what's supposed to be happening right now.
Right. But what if they? What do you do when they don't?
Let's just be reasonable. 10 years ago, I would have been saying the exact same thing that you did. And then they tried to arrest Donald Trump on false charges. They created a new law so that Trump could be could be falsely accused of rape. They arrested his lawyers in numerous states, and they started going after basically anybody who was supporting him in any fashion. I mean, they literally they leaked information to put some of his cohorts in prison. His associates were threatened with prison time. So the cat's been out of the bag for a long time. Congress is completely dysfunctional and can barely pass a budget. They just jam CRs through every week. And even after Matt Gaetz goes to war over continuing resolutions, they still do it. Congress is never going to get anything done, and it's split down the middle. The judiciary is running roughshod over the executive branch right now with more universal injunctions than any that I think, I could be wrong, but I believe Donald Trump has more universal injunctions, which are unconstitutional, by the way, than any other president in this short a time frame. I believe that Trump's first and second administrations already have over 1/3 of all universal injunctions ever issued. The judiciary is acting outside the confines of the Constitution by engaging in rulings that go beyond the scope of their court cases and those present. This has been widely accepted. We have two choices. Donald Trump can say, the judiciary can do and say whatever they want, or he can say, at this point, they are acting unconstitutionally, and I must uphold my oath to the executive branch and to the Constitution to ignore unconstitutional orders. Here's a question I have for you. If a district court judge in Guam ordered Donald Trump to shoot a man in the head, should he do it?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because it is unethical and morally wrong. And
just moral. There's no legal issues?
There's obviously legal issues.
It's illegal, right?
Obviously.
So if a judge orders Trump to do something illegal, he should refuse.
Yes.
And that's where we are right now with all of the district courts. Universal injunctions defy the Constitution and have sparsely been challenged. The way the courts are supposed to work is that if a party comes and says, I am aggrieved, then the judge can issue relief to the party. Instead, what's been happening is district courts have been issuing universal rulings decreeing laws over the United States based on a single individual's complaint. Completely unconstitutional. Donald Trump's only recourse is to say there's a rogue judiciary that must be defied.
To what extent, though? Because
ask the judiciary why they're violating the Constitution.
Well,
I think that.
And listen, I'm not going to argue with you about the judiciary being problematic. I spent 4 years doing criminal justice reform in this country. Like, absolutely, there are so many problems with our justice system. It will turn your hair. But the issue is, at the end of the day, if we keep going down this pathway, we end up with an executive that has pretty much unilateral power because, again, Congress has neutered itself and is not going to take any action. And my concern is what comes next, because the ante will just keep rising and rising and rising. And we saw what they tried to do during COVID. We saw how close they were to getting away with the vast majority of it. If we do not have a court system that's able to check some of those things, and if everybody just disregards the laws that they don't agree with or that they think are wrong, where we end up is a very scary place.
Do you think that if Democrats were restored to power, they would never again do a lockdown like they did in 2021?
I think they'd absolutely try to do it again.
Don't get me wrong. Full disclosure, Trump is the one who initiated that. 2 weeks to slow the spread. That being said, red states quickly turned around and started reopening. Florida became a vacation destination for Democratic politicians like AOC. So here's what I think. If Donald Trump had lost, Democrats would be gearing up for the next lockdown, whatever it may be, climate lockdown or otherwise. The FDA under Joe Biden, his holdovers, fast-tracked new mRNA vaccines for bird flu. And there was recently a falling out. I think RFK Jr. is not too happy about it. I would just say, if we were to right now go, guys, the escalation is getting out of hand. Let's stop right now. Do you know what would happen? What do you think would happen?
I mean, I assume you think they would keep going, and they probably would. But is the answer, where do we end up? Do we end up in a civil war? Where do we end up if this keeps going?
Because now you're talking our language.
I mean, really.
We're familiar with that phrase around here.
It forces Congress to
drink
act.
chat.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.